So these carts are from some of my first builds. I decided to pick these up from a town about 2 hours away. Was able to drive and kind of pick up four go-kart frames for about 225 bucks, all four of them. Brought them back home and kind of arranged them in the backyard. And that little blue and white one is the first one I decided to start with after the custom one. Here's where it's at. Was able to kind of refurbish it, grind down all the rust, kind of restart, rebuild the seat, do the steering linkage, do all that stuff. Decided to go with a John Deere theme on this one for my wife's niece and nephew, and wanted to kind of make it the best I could. I basically bought a bunch of Harbor Freight wheels and a few parts like that. The Predator motor, got the 212 motor, and got a clutch and some chain and all that stuff online. Ended up going with the 35 chain at first. Just seemed like the most economical priced item. Got most of my parts from Amazon. Did find a company called BMI Karts that I was able to order a lot of parts through, like the wishbone steering wheel. Always shopping their clearance section, always doing that. I was able to kind of go in the hardware section and for the front steering and do almost like a turnbuckle style thing, which allowed me to kind of adjust the toe in, toe out of the front steering, which was actually really, really nice. So that actually setup worked out really well, where I welded some all-thread rod together and used the reverse thread and the all-thread rod to basically act as that toe in, toe out adjustment on that. Decided to, because we were giving it to my wife's niece and nephew, decided to go ahead and wrap the roll cage and the side supports in some pool noodle. Bought some yellow zip ties and kind of got that all going for them. They love it. Some things I learned on this project, which I moved on to the next project, which you can see here. That was the white one in the picture. And some things that I learned in there was that the really cheap $5-6 tires don't hold up that well. The hubs aren't really meant for quote unquote off-roading. So on this one, I decided to basically weld the hubs together. I got two tires and flipped the hubs backwards and forward. What that allowed me to do is put 3 bearings in the front of each wheel and really stiffen up that front, take all the wobble out, take all the possibility of all the braking out. So this kind of go-kart has a seat slider that moves forward. Finally convinced my wife to help me build the seat cushion with some two-tone marine grade vinyl, and decided to 3M the bottom rubber floorboard, and that allowed me to kind of get a little bit better. There were some rust spots and pivot joints, so pivot holes, so really ground all that down and bonded it a little bit, and then 3M underbody lined all that. In one of these last couple pictures, you can kind of see on the different angle, I ended up strapping the 2 extra tires from the 2 front tires, almost kind of like an off-road Jeep thing where they kind of carry the extra tires. Ended up selling this one to a guy out of Texas. He drove about 2.5 hours away. He said it was one of the best ones he's seen restored or refurbished or whatnot, and he was really impressed with it. And all in all, spent about $325 in parts and sold it for about $525 to $550, which I think is a really good deal. And they kind of go pretty well for my area. But a little bit of time, welding know-how, and really kind of come up with a good little go-kart. So in the last picture, you'll actually see the project that I'm beginning, which is the TRX project. Got a couple of Honda frames from a buddy of mine, and gonna go at that and see what happens.